Hi, hello, and welcome back to F1 Challenge Career Mode. My name is Mephisto, and today we're heading off to Austria for round 6 of the 2001 Formula 1 season. Let's get started.
Located near Nittelfeld in the foothills of the Styrian Mountains, the A1 ring combines three long straights with a flowing mix of fast sweeping and slower 90-degree turns. Built on the site of the historic Österreich ring, this dedicated motorsports facility is another fine example of modern circuit design.
And we jump straight into qualifying. This is my first flying lap, and I have to say I had a pretty decent pace. And that lap time was a 1:15.540. Let's see if we can do any better. This is my second flying lap. I was definitely a lot faster this time around. That lap time was a 1:13.777 seconds, so I was quite significantly faster. But I wanted to see if I could go for a pole position. So on my third flying lap, I managed to go just a bit faster with a time of 1:13.001. I went out for a fourth time as well, however I messed up in sector 2, but that 1:13.001 would have been enough for a third place. However, the game decided to troll me again. Last time I was disqualified because I didn't make it back to the pits before the end of the session, and this time I apparently went over the 12 lap limit. And I don't really know how that works because the last time I checked, 3 multiplied by 4 was 12, not 13. But oh well, I guess I'll have to start from the back again. See you on the grid.
Hello there. Welcome to Austria for round 6 of the 2001 FIA Formula 1 World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Schumacher first. Montoya second. Hakkinen third. Coulthard fourth. Schumacher fifth. Barrichello sixth. Kimi Räikkönen seventh. Heidfeld consistently outpaced his championship rival. He starts eighth. Heinz-Harald Frentzen ninth. Irvine 10th. Jensen Button 11th. Jos Verstappen 12th. Jarno Trulli 13th. Giancarlo Fisichella 14th. Olivier Panis was consistently faster than his teammate. He starts 15th. Alesi 16th. Alonso 17th. Berti 18th. Pedro de la Rosa 19th. Enrique Bernaldi 20th. Tarso Marquez 21st. The BAR driver 22nd.
Here we are on the grid at the very back. Thanks game. Starting from third would have helped us so much, but there's nothing I can do to change that now. And we're off. And already yellow flags are being waved. I think I just saw one of the Jordans standing still. Whoever it was, he must have stalled his engine. Anyway, I managed to climb up a few positions before turn 1. Then I decided to tuck behind the Prost of Luciano Berti, and maybe have a go on the straight. But Berti pulls away quite quickly. Anyway, let's see the start once again. And here it is. Lots of wheel spin from me as usual, and it looks like it was Frentzen who had difficulties pulling away from the grid. However, he did finish the race, so I guess he managed to start his car eventually. And there I am, coming into turn 1 right behind Luciano Berti. I am now side by side with Tarso Marquez, however my car is faster and I fly right past. Next are the arrows of Enrique Bernaldi and the BAR of my teammate, so let's see if we can catch them anytime soon. I was really hoping to replicate our results from last race. Another second place would be amazing, and it would help to further our championship standing. But once again, my major concern was the brakes, especially since you have to brake quite heavily into most of the corners on this track. So we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, We are coming around to finish our first lap. I managed to climb up a few positions. I was now in 17th, but now I had to try and catch the guys in front. And it looks like I'm going to overtake Bernoldi. Nicely done. Next is teammate Olivier Panis. Let's try to catch him as well. At the end of the second lap, there was thick smoke coming from one of the cars in front. So I pulled to the right a bit, just in case they decided to stop in the middle of the track. And that looked like a Benetton. So we got past him and now we had Bertie in front. I had a fantastic run on him, almost seemed like he was standing in place. Let's keep pushing. And now a replay of the smoking Benetton belonging to Giancarlo Fisichella. There's my teammate, but Fisichella pulls to the side and is out of the race. He's not going to be happy about that, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I've just passed my teammate and was now chasing after Jos Verstappen, who I was hoping to pass within the next couple of laps. But at some point, Verstappen got in front of Jenson Button, who brakes really early into turn 3. That could have ended badly. Fortunately, it didn't, so I was now once again in pursuit of Jos Verstappen. As the yellow flags come up again, it looks like there's a car off to the side of the track. There is. It's the Williams of Ralf Schumacher. I wonder what happened there. So let's find out. Here's Ralf Schumacher with the McLaren of David Coulthard right behind. They come out of turn 3 and into the Niki Lauda turn and the Power Horse turn, where Schumacher's car spins out of control. That looks like a brake failure. And if I'm not wrong, in our previous Austrian Grand Prix, he had to retire due to a pretty similar issue. Anyway, that moved us up into 11th, and we were still chasing after Verstappen. He was a little under a second ahead, but I've closed that gap through turn 1. It was now time to see if I could overtake him either on the straight or through turn 2. I make good use of his slipstream, and I was through. Next was Trulli, and I tried to overtake him as well, but was unable to pull that off at the time. But maybe I could do it on the straight. I definitely had a better exit, so I now just had to find a way through. I stick it to the outside and fly right past. I was now in P9. Later on, I catch up to Kimi Raikkonen and former teammate Eddie Irvine. However, because they were racing each other, I didn't have enough room to go through, but I had to try and stick as close to them as possible. I finally decided that the straight would be a good place to overtake. We are now 3 wide and that was an excellent double pass. So I was now up in P7, and the real struggle was about to begin. Only fast cars and fast drivers left. A couple of laps later, I caught up to Rubens Barrichello. I was really pushing it through these final 2 corners. Now, if I were to have a good exit, I should be able to challenge Barrichello for position. And indeed I do. Can I pass him before the turn? It's going to be a close one. There, the maneuver is complete, but I outbrake myself into turn 1, allowing Barrichello to immediately take back his position. But I stick close, and I even set a fast lap. So, can I overtake Barrichello again? Yes, I do, as Raikkonen has an accident. That was one hell of a battle with Barrichello. We are now looking at Kimi Raikkonen, who is still trying to get around Irvine. They turn in for the corner, and Kimi Raikkonen turns a bit too early because he ends up hitting the barrier. That's bad driving right there. That's something I would expect to see in Monaco, but not here. Or anywhere else for that matter. Then again, this is a very old game, so the AI programming isn't as good as it could be. Later on, I caught up to Nick Heidfeld and was reeling him in quickly. That was a bit too easy. But next was David Coulthard, and I'm sure he won't give up that easily. So let's keep pushing. A few laps later, I was right behind the McLaren of Coulthard. I had a look on the inside, but I didn't feel that I could pull it off. So I held back. But I will most definitely try again soon. Perhaps through turns 4 or 5. I get behind him to use his slipstream. That pulls me in very close, but I'm still not able to pass him. On the very next lap, I have another go at Coulthard, and this time I go past him, no problem. Excellent, I was now in 4th, and in front of me was Hakkinen, just 2.5 seconds off the road. About 2 laps later, I managed to catch up to the top 3, Hakkinen, Montoya, and Michael Schumacher. This was not going to be an easy task, but I will try my best. 1 lap later, I have a go at Mika Hakkinen, but he outbreaks me into turn 3. so he gets to keep his position for the time being. Overall, I was doing quite well. Then, at the end of lap 13, I had to come in for some fuel and a set of fresh tires. I was quickly losing positions, but that was okay because most of the drivers haven't pitted yet, so there was still a chance that I could jump them in the pits. So, will we rejoin in the top 6 or not? No, as Rupen's Barrichello just flew past, and that was a pretty mediocre stop of 11.7 seconds. So let's see where we will end up once we rejoin the track. Irvine was approaching past. Can we get out in front of him? That's pretty close, but I did it, and that meant that I rejoined in 7th. Pretty good if you ask me. Now let's fight our way back up. One lap later, as I was coming out of turn 1, I've noticed Michael Schumacher pulling out of the pits, so this would be a good opportunity to overtake him since he would be quite slower on his outlap. I take a look on the inside, but he outbraked me slightly. Then I tried to squeeze him through turn 1, but it didn't work. So I tuck in behind him, otherwise I would have no chance against a Ferrari in a straight drag race. He's really fast, but he eventually gives up. That was a handful, but I mess up my exit through turn 3 and he gets right back at me. Side by side once again, one got in front again, and this time I made sure to stay there. Next was race leader Mika Hakkinen. On lap 19 I get close enough to try and challenge Hakkinen for position. However, I used too much curbing through the corner, offsetting my car and nearly sending me into a spin. That was very costly. I now had to make sure I wouldn't do that again. On lap 22 I managed to get close to Hakkinen once more. So all I needed now was to concentrate, and I could potentially take my first victory of the season here in Austria. And Jensen Button was having problems with his car. So let's see what happened. Here is the Benetton of Jensen Button. He was coming through turn 1, then his car started to let out a lot of smoke. So he had no other choice than to retire. Bad news for Benetton since both their cars had to retire due to the same problem. As we started lap 23, I was coming around to lap 1 of the Prosts, and with 2 more laps to go besides this one, it was time to pick up the pace. And as I was coming into turn 3, I hit the brakes, and as you can see, nothing happened. Brilliant. Once again the brakes failed me. There goes second place. So here's a replay. I was catching Hakkinen and I think I could have been able to pass him in about a lap or so, but my brakes decided that they had enough. And with a broken wing just a little over 2 laps away from the end of the race, there was little to no reason to continue. As my car spins around, due to the fact that I now had a lot of downforce on the front of the car and none on the back, all that was left to do was to bring the car back to the pits and turn it off. But even that proved to be difficult, as I was losing positions one after the other. Just my luck. And we were doing so well too. This has cost me second place, which I was sure to get, and a potential first place. And I was obviously not too happy, and who would be in this situation anyway? So far, this season was a complete mess. That second place in Spain is almost as if it never even happened. This makes 4 out of 6 races where I had the same problem, and 3 out of 6 races from which I had to retire. That's a 50% retirement rate. That is not good. At least I posted the fastest lap of the race for whatever that's worth. Sometimes I ask myself, why do I even bother? Something has to change, and fast. Anyway, let's have a look at the standings.
Well, that's the end of an awesome Austrian Grand Prix. Here are the final results. Mika Hakkinen, first. Schumacher, second. David Coulthard, third. Heidfeld, fourth. Rubens Barrichello, fifth. Eddie Irvine, sixth. With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. David Coulthard, first.
Coulthard increases his lead in the driver standings. He now has 40 points. 10 points more than second place Michael Schumacher with 30 points. In third, we have Juan Pablo Montoya with 20 points. Mika Hakkinen joins Ralf Schumacher in fourth with 13 points. Heidfeld is fifth with 10 points. Barrichello moves up into sixth with 7 points. I drop down to seventh with 6 points. Raikkonen, Button, and Verstappen are in eighth with 4 points. Irvine moves into ninth with 3 points. And Frentzen drops into 10th with 2 points.
McLaren increase their lead at the top of the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari are second, followed by the third-placed Williams.
McLaren maintain their lead in the Constructors' Championship with 53 points. Ferrari move up into second with 37 points. Williams drop down to third with 33 points. Sauber are fourth with 14 points. Our team is fifth with 6 points. In sixth we have Benetton and Arrows with 4 points. Jaguar move up into seventh with 3 points. And Jordan drop down to eighth with 2 points. Well, another disappointing race. I'm really starting to feel that this is how the whole season will go, which is unfortunate because I would have liked to try and challenge for the title, but that's quite unlikely at the moment. It's still not too late, there's still time to recover, but it's going to become increasingly difficult as we progress. And let us not forget that we are almost halfway through the season. Anyway, our next race will be the Monaco Grand Prix, where all I have to do, hopefully, is to make sure that I keep the car in one piece. So, until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.